I zipped my suitcase shut, exhaling a slow, measured breath. This was it. After 4 years of emotional exhaustion, quiet gaslighting, and the slow erosion of my self-worth, I was finally leaving Ryan. The apartment felt suffocating, even in the early morning light filtering through the half-drawn blinds. The scent of stale coffee lingered in the air, mixing with a faint reminder of cologne, a scent that used to make me feel safe but now only reminded me of broken promises and well-practiced lies. Ryan was still asleep when I woke up, and I had planned to be gone before he even noticed. I had practiced this in my head 100 times. No dramatic goodbyes, no second chances. Just me, my suitcase, and the life I deserved waiting on the other side of that door. I had barely made it 3 steps toward the exit when a strangled gasp split the air behind me. "Sam!" Ryan's voice, raw and desperate, froze me in place. I turned, my stomach tightening as I watched him clutch his chest. His face was twisted in pain, his breath coming in ragged gasps. I should have felt panic, should have rushed to his side. Instead, all I felt was suspicion. "Ryan!" My voice was careful, too controlled. His body slumped against the couch, his hands trembling as he struggled to breathe. I didn't want to tell you this way," he rasped, eyes glassy with unshed tears. "But I'm sick, Sam. Really sick." Silence stretched between us, thick and oppressive. "What?" I finally said, the word barely a whisper. He swallowed hard, forcing his voice to crack in just the right way. "Practice, deliberate. I have a rare heart condition. It's..." He sucked in a shaky breath, as if the words physically hurt him. "It's terminal." I stared at him, waiting for the punchline. "I have maybe a few months," he continued, eyes darting to my suitcase. "I wasn't going to tell you. I didn't want you to stay out of pity." It was so perfectly timed, so carefully delivered that I almost doubted myself. But something about the way his eyes gleamed felt off. The first thing I noticed was that Ryan didn't seem to be dying. By the next morning, the dramatic gasps, the clutching of his chest, the breathless, tearful confession were gone. In their place was a version of Ryan I had seen too many times before, the confident, calculated manipulator, smug in the knowledge that he had won. He played the part of a tragic hero well. He told me he had come to terms with his fate, that he just wanted to spend whatever time he had left making me happy. "You don't have to decide anything right now," he said one night, casually stirring his coffee. "Just don't leave yet, please. We can take it one day at a time." I should have walked out anyway, but something in me needed proof. And the more I looked, the more things didn't add up. Ryan claimed to have a chemo appointment on Tuesday. But Tuesday came and went, and he returned home looking perfectly fine. No fatigue, no nausea, not even a hint of discomfort. I asked him how it went, and his response was too polished. "It wasn't as bad as I thought. Just a mild session today." Mild session. For terminal cancer. He refused to let me see his medication, saying it was too painful for him to be reminded of. When I asked which hospital he was going to, he hesitated, just for a second. Bayview Medical," he said quickly, but his voice lacked its usual certainty. Bayview Medical. I had driven past that hospital countless times. It wasn't even an oncology center. And yet, every time I questioned something, he had a perfectly rehearsed answer. I started watching him more carefully. Little details. The way he never actually scheduled appointments. The way he avoided specifics when talking about treatments. And the way, despite supposedly being terminally ill, he looked perfectly healthy. That night, as he slept beside me, I pulled out my phone and quietly started digging. Ryan left early that morning, claiming he had a follow-up appointment with his doctor. "Nothing serious," he reassured me, pressing a too long kiss to my forehead. "Just checking my progress." Progress. That word stuck in my mind long after the front door closed behind him. Terminal patients don't talk about progress. They talk about time. The second he was gone, I went to his bathroom cabinet. I had never snooped before. Ryan was the one who pried, who accidentally read my texts, who questioned where I was if I didn't respond in 10 minutes. This was different. I carefully pulled open the mirrored cabinet, expecting bottles of prescription medication, maybe something for pain management, or even nausea meds if he was doing chemotherapy. Instead, ibuprofen, a half-used bottle of cough syrup, some multivitamins. I rifled through the drawers. Antacids, over-the-counter allergy pills. Not a single prescription-strength medication. The next step was riskier. I grabbed my phone and dialed Bayview Medical, the hospital Ryan had named so easily. "Hi," I said, keeping my voice light. "My fiancé, Ryan Taylor, is a patient at your oncology center. I wanted to confirm his next appointment." The receptionist's pause lasted a beat too long. "I'm sorry, ma'am," she said finally. "We don't have a Ryan Taylor in our system." I felt my pulse in my throat. "Are you sure?" "He told me he was receiving treatment there." "Positive. I can double-check under another name if he's going by something else." "No," I interrupted. "That's all right. Thank you." Hung up. No Ryan Taylor. No record. No appointments. I sat down, staring at the wall. I should have felt relieved. Ryan wasn't dying. But instead I felt something darker. He had lied to me about cancer. He had fabricated an entire disease just to keep me trapped. My fingers curled around my phone. If he wanted to play a game, fine. Play along. But I'd play to win. Ryan beamed when he handed me the paper, like a child proudly presenting a crayon drawing to a parent. "This should clear up any doubts," he said, voice dripping with smug satisfaction. I took the folded letter carefully, schooling my features into concern, not suspicion. At first glance, it looked real enough. Standard white paper, black ink. But when I focused on the details, the cracks screamed at me. There was no hospital letterhead. The wording was painfully vague. No detailed diagnosis. No mention of actual treatments. Just a generic statement that Ryan Taylor was suffering from a rare degenerative condition and was under strict medical care. Even worse, the doctor's name was just Dr. K. Morris. No first name. No credentials. Just a last name and an initial like a placeholder. Kept my breathing even. "This must have been hard to get," I murmured, fingers tracing the paper. Ryan ate it up, nodding gravely. "Doctors aren't supposed to disclose too much, but I asked for something official to show you. I knew you were worried." "Worried?" "Well." "Infuriated." I folded the letter carefully and set it aside. "I'll keep this safe." Ryan looked victorious, like he thought this would erase my doubts. But all he had done was hand me the first piece of evidence I needed to destroy him. Later that night, I took a photo of the letter and sent it to one person I could trust. My old roommate, Olivia, who was now a physician's assistant. "Me, does this look legit?" She responded within minutes. "Olivia, not even close. No credentials, no hospital info, and the wording is ridiculous. This is faker than my grandma's Chanel bag." I stared at the screen. My heart should have been racing. I should have been panicked, devastated, shattered by the realization that my boyfriend was lying to me about something so serious. But all I felt was cold clarity. Ryan had no idea what was coming. I smiled at Ryan over dinner, twirling my fork through the pasta he had so graciously cooked, meaning he had ordered takeout and tried to pass it off as homemade. He looked smug, victorious, as if his latest performance had sealed my devotion. And that was exactly what I wanted him to think. I had spent the last 3 weeks perfecting my act. The devoted, concerned girlfriend who believed his every word. I asked about his treatments in hushed, worried tones. I placed a hand on his arm when he dramatically sighed about feeling weaker lately. I even sat beside him on the couch at night, rubbing his back when he winced in exaggerated pain. Every time he faked a symptom, I was there. Every time he fed me another carefully rehearsed line, I soaked it in like a sponge. But behind the mask, I was documenting everything. I started recording our conversations. The sob stories, the made-up medical jargon, the carefully choreographed sighs. I took pictures of his sick days. Days where his supposed condition left him too weak to stand, only for him to be out jogging an hour later. I collected his texts, including the ones where he reminded me not to tell anyone about his diagnosis because it was too painful to talk about. I even caught him slipping up. One night when he thought I was asleep, I heard him on the phone laughing. "She's totally buying it," he muttered. "No, I haven't had to cry in front of her yet, but I will if it comes to that." I lay in bed, eyes closed, breathing evenly as the rage burned through me. That was the moment I decided. He wasn't just going to lose. He was going to be destroyed. Ryan had no idea how close I was to unraveling him. He sat across from me on a lazy Sunday morning, sipping his coffee with a calculated sigh, waiting for me to ask about his condition. I beat him to it. "I was thinking," I said softly, pushing the words out as if they were painful. "I don't want you to worry about anything while you're sick." His eyes lit up just slightly before he forced them into a somber mask. "That means a lot, Sam. It's just been so overwhelming lately." I reached for his hand. "Maybe we should combine our finances. That way, I can make sure everything is taken care of if you—" I let my voice catch, as if I couldn't bear to say the words. His grip on my hand tightened. I didn't want to ask, but, God, that would mean everything to me. It was almost embarrassing how easily he fell into the trap. That night, when he was asleep, I checked our joint account. And just as I suspected, Ryan had been quietly draining it for months. Small withdrawals at first. $50 here, $100 there. But recently, larger amounts, thousands. My stomach turned. Where had it gone? Who had it gone to? I needed answers. And more importantly, I needed protection. The next morning I hired a lawyer. We went through everything. Our joint account, our lease, our shared expenses. How quickly can I separate my finances without him noticing? Yes. The lawyer smiled. You'd be surprised how many times I've heard that exact question. Let's get to work. Ryan thought he had me wrapped around his finger. But he had no idea I was already cutting the strings. I had spent weeks playing along, but now it was time to start digging. Ryan was careful, too careful about his phone. Always face down. Always password protected. But everyone makes mistakes. And Ryan's was arrogance. One night, he fell asleep with his phone unlocked beside him. Took my chance. A few quick swipes through his messages, and there she was. Mia. My stomach twisted as I scrolled through the thread. Mia. I hate that you have to be there with her. I wish you could just be free already. Ryan, soon, baby. Just a little longer. I need to make sure things are set up first. Mia. Did you ask her about the accounts? Ryan, yeah, she's falling for it. I just need to keep up the act for a bit more. I stopped breathing. He wasn't just lying about his illness. He was using me to bankroll his next life, with a woman who had no idea what kind of man she was actually dealing with. It was textbook Ryan. Love bombing, manipulation, deceit. And worst of all, he was recycling the exact same script on her. Ryan. I've never met anyone like you. Ryan, I feel like I can finally be myself with you. Ryan, you're so much more supportive than her. Supportive. But I took a screenshot of everything and sent it to my personal email, making sure I had a secure backup. That was it. That was the final nail in the coffin. I wasn't just going to expose Ryan. I was going to ruin him. If Ryan wanted to fake an illness, I was going to give him a farewell party he'd never forget. I played my part flawlessly. Tearful. Concerned. Loving. I even suggested we host a small, intimate farewell dinner with close friends and family. Just something special, I said, voice trembling. To celebrate you while we still can. Ryan, thinking he had fully broken me, agreed. What he didn't know was that I had also invited a few extra guests. Heavy checkmark Mia. His new beginning. Heavy checkmark his parents, who still thought their son was terminally ill. Heavy checkmark his closest friends, who were about to learn the truth. Heavy checkmark a lawyer, discreetly seated at the back. By the time everyone arrived, Ryan was in peak performance mode. Weak smiles, soft sighs, the occasional distant stare as if reflecting on his limited time. I let him bask in the attention. Then I stood up, glass in hand. "Tonight is really special," I began, my voice strong despite the pulse of adrenaline in my veins. "It's about love, trust, and honesty." Ryan smiled at me, completely unaware of what was coming next. I turned to Mia, locking eyes with her across the table. "You must be Mia. I've heard so much about you." The color drained from her face. Ryan stiffened. "Sam." I held up a hand. "Not finished. You know, I was devastated when I found out Ryan was sick." I turned toward his parents. But imagine my surprise when I called the hospital and found out he was never a patient. A ripple of confusion and murmurs spread through the room. Ryan's eyes widened in panic. I placed my phone on the table and hit play. Ryan's voice filled the room, crystal clear from the recording. "She's totally buying it. No, I haven't had to cry in front of her yet, but I will if it comes to that." The room fell into stunned silence. Mia pushed back from the table, eyes darting between me and Ryan. His parents looked horrified. His friends, disgusted. And then, as if on cue, my lawyer stepped forward, placing a thick envelope in front of Ryan. "You've also been quietly draining the joint account," I said calmly. "That, by the way, is financial fraud." Ryan's face went sheet white. "This isn't happening," he stammered, hands shaking. "Oh, it's very real," smiled. "And the best part, you won't have to fake a heart attack this time. Because after tonight," I leaned in, voice low and ice cold, "you're really going to need a doctor." The room was still, the weight of my words pressing down like a lead blanket. Ryan's face had gone ghostly pale, his hands clenching and unclenching as if trying to grasp for the right lie, one that could save him. But there was no saving him now. His parents, his friends, Mia, all sat in stunned silence. I reached into my purse, pulling out his fake doctor's note, carefully unfolding it for the room to see. I held it up like a prize. "This is the letter Ryan gave me," I said, voice calm but razor-sharp. "His official diagnosis." I turned toward his father, a retired accountant who lived by facts and figures. "Does anything seem strange to you?" His father took it hesitantly, eyes scanning the page. Then his brow furrowed. "There's no hospital letterhead," he muttered, flipping it over. "No doctor's first name. K. Morris." "Exactly," I said smoothly. "Because Darth Morris doesn't exist." Ryan jerked forward, reaching for the paper, but I stepped back, holding it just out of reach. I wasn't done yet. I turned to Mia, watching her shift in her seat, uneasy. She knew. She just didn't know how deep it went. "Mia, did Ryan ever mention his condition to you?" I asked, tilting my head. She swallowed. He told me it wasn't something he liked to talk about." He nodded. "Of course he did. Because the less he talked about it, the less chance someone would catch him slipping." Ryan's chair scraped against the floor as he stood abruptly. "Enough," he snapped, voice cracking. "You're blowing this out of proportion, Sam. We can talk about this privately." I ignored him. Instead, I tapped my phone screen, scrolling through my saved voice memos. A second later, Ryan's own voice filled the room. "She's totally buying it. No, I haven't had to cry in front of her yet, but I will if it comes to that." A sharp gasp came from Ryan's mother. His father's jaw clenched, a rare show of emotion from a man who prided himself on composure. Mia pushed back from the table, looking physically sick. Ryan, for the first time all night, had nothing to say. For a moment no one moved. The weight of the recording, of my words, of everything, hung in the air. Then Mia snapped. "You lied to me," she shrieked, pushing back so hard that her chair nearly toppled. "You told me you were stuck with her, that she was controlling, that you needed me." Ryan flinched but tried to recover. "Mia, baby. Don't you baby me, she spat, grabbing her purse. I actually felt sorry for you. I was going to help you. Her voice cracked on the last word, her fury mixing with humiliation. Ryan turned to me then, trying to salvage whatever control he had left. This is ridiculous, he said, shaking his head, forcing out a dry laugh. This is exactly why I didn't want to tell you, Sam. I knew you'd overreact. I knew you'd. His mother slammed her hand on the table. Enough. Ryan froze. Her face, usually so soft, so warm, was set like stone. You made us believe you were dying, she said, her voice shaking. Your father and I, she swallowed hard. Do you even understand what you've done? Ryan hated being called out, hated being trapped. So, of course, he went for his only real weapon. Gaslighting. This is insane, he scoffed, running a hand through his hair. Sam's trying to make me look bad because she's bitter. She was never supportive, she never cared. I let out a soft, knowing laugh. Everyone turned to look at me, and then I pulled up my bank records. Ryan, I said sweetly, if I never cared, why did you try to drain our joint account? Ryan's face drained of color. His father stood up slowly, jaw clenched. You stole from Sam. It wasn't stealing, Ryan said quickly, voice rising. It was our account. We were supposed to share finances. She told me she wanted to help. Oh, please. I rolled my eyes. You were planning to run off with Mia the second I signed over access. Mia stared at him, realization finally hitting her full force. This whole time, she whispered, you were never leaving because you loved me. You just needed someone stupid enough to take care of you. Ryan's eyes flickered to her, and for the first time, true panic settled in. His parents stood, their faces cold, distant, the same way mine had been for weeks now. His friends started whispering, murmuring, judging. 'Cause now they all saw him for what he was. And Ryan knew it. His world was crumbling, and I had just set the fire. The room was already in chaos. Ryan's parents stared at him in horrified disbelief. Mia looked ready to set fire to his entire existence. His friends, disgusted. And just when he thought it couldn't get worse, my lawyer stepped forward, placing a thick envelope on the table in front of him. Mr. Taylor, she said smoothly, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. You've been served. Ryan stared at the envelope as if it might explode in his hands. What? His voice cracked. What the hell is this? I leaned forward, smiling sweetly. Oh, just a little something to make things official. His hands shook as he ripped open the envelope, his eyes scanning the pages with growing horror. I had already removed his access to our joint accounts. I was suing him for fraud and emotional distress. His financial transactions had been flagged for investigation. I watched as his face twisted through a dozen emotions. Shock, anger, desperation. This is insane, he snapped, looking up at me. You can't do this. Oh, but I already did. I tilted my head, relishing the moment. His father snatched the documents from his hands, reading through them carefully. His already rigid posture stiffened further. You used her money. His voice was dangerously low. Ryan looked cornered. It was our account. It wasn't stealing. His father's nostrils flared. Son, that's fraud. And then, as if the universe wanted to deliver the final blow, the front door swung open. 2 police officers stepped inside. Ryan Taylor, one of them asked. Ryan went completely still. What is this? His voice barely rose above a whisper. One officer pulled out a folded sheet of paper. We have some questions regarding financial fraud and misrepresentation. We received a formal complaint along with evidence of transactions made under false pretenses. Ryan's eyes darted around the room, searching for an ally, a savior, anyone to bail him out. There was no one left. Sir, you're going to need to come with us, the second officer added. Ryan's breath hitched. This is ridiculous. This is all a misunderstanding. Sam's setting me up. One of the officers turned to me. Miss, do you have the documentation you submitted to your attorney? I smiled, holding up my phone. Every screenshot, every recording, every transaction. Right here, officer. Ryan paled completely. As the officers pulled out handcuffs, his voice cracked. Wait. This isn't fair. This isn't. But before he could finish, they snapped the cuffs around his wrists. Ryan Taylor, the man who thought he could manipulate me into staying, was being dragged out of his own farewell dinner in handcuffs. And as he stumbled past me, I leaned in just enough for him to hear. This is what happens when you underestimate the wrong woman. The internet moves fast. By the next morning, Ryan's entire life was on fire. Started with Mia. Oh, she didn't just leave him. She made sure the world knew exactly why. Her first post. Imagine faking cancer for money and getting arrested mid-dinner. Couldn't be me, but could be my ex-women. Trust your instincts. Her second post. For anyone wondering, yes, he was using me too. I was just the next ATM on his list. Took minutes for people to connect the dots. Ryan's friends, co-workers, even casual acquaintances started sharing and commenting. Wow, I used to work with this guy. Always thought he was a little shady. He told me once that he could talk his way out of anything. Guess not. He borrowed money from me a year ago and never paid it back. I should have known. But the best part, his employer found out. I got a text from a mutual friend at his office. Livia girl. He's done. His boss saw the post. Apparently, HR already flagged some suspicious time-off requests. This just sealed it. Oh, I had forgotten about that. Ryan had been taking sick days, playing up his treatments to his employer. But now? It was all exposed. By noon, his company had released a formal statement. Effective immediately, Ryan Taylor is no longer employed with our firm. We do not condone fraudulent behavior and will cooperate fully with any investigations. He lost his job, his reputation, his relationships, everything. And then, I got the final message I didn't even know I needed. It was from his mother, Mrs. Taylor. Samantha, I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. We had no idea. We defended him and we were wrong. If you need anything, please let us know. But I understand if you never want to hear from us again. I let out a slow breath. Ryan had spent years spinning lies, manipulating, twisting people's trust. And now, he had nothing left. And me. I had my freedom, my dignity, and the one thing Ryan never saw coming. The last word. The first text came at 2 a.m. Ryan, Sam, please. Just talk to me. I stared at my screen for a moment, then turned off my phone and went back to sleep. The second message came a few hours later. Ryan, I wasn't thinking straight. I made mistakes, okay? But we can fix this. Please. Need you. By mid-afternoon, my voicemail was full. Calls, texts, desperate pleas. I didn't bother listening. But then, as if his previous messages weren't pathetic enough, he switched to full emotional manipulation mode. Ryan, I'm lost without you. I don't even know who I am anymore. Ryan, don't you remember the good times? We were happy once, Sam. We can be again. Ryan, I'll change. I'll prove it to you. Just give me one more chance. One more chance. The same man who faked a terminal illness, who stole my money, who was already lining up his next victim before I even left. I let out a short, humorless laugh. And then the final text came. Ryan, you think you've won? You think you're better than me? You'll regret this, Sam. Just wait. There it was. A shift. The moment the mask completely fell off. Ryan was never sorry. He wasn't broken or regretful or self-reflecting. He was just angry that he had lost. That was all I needed. I blocked his number, deleted his emails, and shut the door on him forever. And when I walked away, I didn't look back. I hadn't thought about Ryan in weeks. Not until Olivia, my friend from his office, texted me with an update I didn't even know I needed. Olivia, oh my God. Guess who just got evicted? Actually laughed loud. Turns out, Ryan's downward spiral was far from over. He lost his job. After HR reviewed his fraudulent sick leave requests, they didn't just fire him. They flagged him to other firms in the industry. No one was hiring him. He lost his apartment. Turns out, when you lose your job and have no savings, rent becomes an issue. He was officially evicted and couchsurfing. He lost Mia. The moment he could no longer fund her lifestyle, she was gone. She wasn't about to play house with a broke, unemployed liar. But the best part, Ryan tried to rebuild his reputation online. I saw a post pop up in a local forum. A new dating profile. Ryan, 36. Young at heart, fun-loving guy looking for a fresh start. Life's been tough, but I believe in second chances. Just looking for someone who sees the real me. The comments section was brutal. Aren't you the guy who faked cancer? You mean a fresh start from fraud charges? Elmo, imagine thinking people forgot. Ryan deleted his profile within an hour. His reputation shattered. His manipulative tactics useless. His entire life a burning wreckage of his own making. And me. I was too busy living my best life to care. 1 year. 12 full months since I walked away from the biggest mistake of my life and never looked back. And now, I was thriving. After everything that happened, I decided to take full control of my life. I didn't just rebuild, I upgraded. Career. Flourishing. I landed a promotion that put me in a leadership position, running my own team. No more second-guessing myself. No more shrinking to make space for someone else's ego. Finances. Immaculate. My money was finally mine again. No joint accounts, no sneaky withdrawals. Just me, building a future that no one could take from me. Love. Healthy, real, uncomplicated. I met someone who didn't manipulate, didn't gaslight, didn't play games. A man who actually listened, supported me, and, most importantly, didn't have to fake an illness to keep me around. For the first time in years, I felt light, free, untouchable. And then, Ryan ruined it with one last desperate attempt. Came on a random Thursday afternoon. An unknown number popped up on my screen. I almost ignored it, until I saw the preview of the message. Ryan, hey Sam. Been thinking about you a lot lately. I stared at it for a second before opening the full message. Ryan, hey Sam. Been thinking about you a lot lately. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I know I messed up, but people change, right? I'm in a better place now. Maybe we could grab coffee sometime. Just to catch up. No pressure. Me no. Actually laughed out loud. The audacity. The sheer, mind-blowing delusion of this man. He had lost everything. He had burned his own life to the ground. And now, when no one else wanted him, he was trying to circle back. The last-ditch effort of a man with nowhere else to go. I didn't even respond. I just hovered over the message for half a second, then pressed delete. No words. No closure. Nothing. Because I didn't need revenge. I had already won. Want to hear more of this? Then click on the video on the right-hand side, which is even more brutal.